Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dugout podcast. Something slightly different for you viewers today. Me and Alex, my usual co-host. I'm joined by Alex today, and we will be going through the season, giving our thoughts so far on some awards, the obvious ones like goal of the season, player of the season, stuff like that. We'll also be doing something that returning from last season, which we done our best team of the season so far, and we're going to call it the most underperforming team of the season so far. And obviously, me and Alex
Worst, the
recognise that.
stickers, the
No,
worst.
I think obviously me and Alex recognise that you have to be an excellent football player to play in our country's top division. So everyone in this, both teams are excellent players, and yeah, we know they're capable. But the players in the underperforming team have been the ones that have dropped the levels the most, I would say, this season. So we'll obviously have a discussion on that. And we had two Scottish Premiership matches, some game in hands to catch up on last night. Two really interesting games. Two of the teams in the title race, Celtic and Hearts, went up against two of the teams to lift silverware in the year of 2025 in St Mirren and Falkirk, and both the title winning teams came out on top. We'll start at the Falkirk Stadium. Celtic came away 1-0 winners, but I don't know if that was really a fair reflection on the game, was it, Alex?
No, I don't think so. Falkirk were good. Were really good. Especially in the first half, they should have been two or three goals in front. I mean, Carell Wilson did really well. He burst past Kieran Tierney, made it past Casper Schmeichel, and then put it wide. I think he was falling over when he hit the shot, but you still have to score from there. So Falkirk had some good opportunities. Celtic scored just on the brink of half time. A poor goal to concede. I mean, I said it in our chat last night. Falkirk deserved to be in front, but they only had themselves to blame for not being in front. It was a poor goal to concede. Benjamin Egren notching another one. He's now got 10 for the season. I think he's having a season that's potentially flying under the radar, and he might make it into either one of our sides. Stay tuned to find out. But yeah, he gets the goal, and that ends up being the goal that wins the game. I mean, second half was, I don't think either team was particularly great. Celtic didn't create anything. I don't remember Scott Bain having a save to make the entire game. And Falkirk in the second half slowed down a bit. They did have chances again there, though. I think Celtic controlled it a bit better in the second half. Obviously, Falkirk were tired because I thought their press in the first half was tremendous. But yeah, they just couldn't finish their dinner. Casper Schmeichel maybe making an appearance in one of the other teams today. Pulled off a really good save actually in the second half as well, denying what should have been Falkirk's equaliser. So yeah, I think that just sums it up. Falkirk were the better side, but they only have themselves to blame. Celtic got the win over the line.
Yeah, and I think that's been the problem maybe for Falkirk the whole season. They've never really found that recognised number nine that can be reliable to find a lot of goals. Obviously, they brought Brian Graham in, and they had Barney Stewart up front last night. Obviously, he came back from his loan spell, and yeah, he had a big chance as well, which he just didn't put far enough away from Casper Schmeichel, who had a decent game. He kept a clean sheet back to back. Obviously, the first two since the start of Wilfred Nancy's tenure, two clean sheets in 10 games, both of them under Martin O'Neill. And I think that's what Martin O'Neill's shown since he's come back in. He's going to get the wins or try to get the wins by any means necessary. And that's what we've seen from Celtic last night, because Falkirk were deserving of the very least a point, but just wasn't to be. And I think John McGlynn would have been frustrated last night, but he'll also be very proud of his players' performance that they put in, especially in that first half. As you said, they were excellent and should have been ahead. And yeah, a big win for Celtic. Positives and more positives to take for Falkirk, obviously comfortably inside the top six now, and they'll be looking to push on away from the teams below them, Dundee United, Aberdeen, and Dundee, and then maybe St Mirren. But they're looking like they're really struggling at the minute. Obviously, they went to Tynecastle and lost 2-0 to the Hearts side, which played over 75 minutes with a man down when Benny Beningame was sent off for what a crazy
Horror,
tackle, wasn't it?
horror challenge, absolute horror. I don't know how it was given as a yellow at the time. Our friend and he makes some appearances in the Scottish Football Zone. I didn't catch the show last night, but I'm sure he was talking about it. Don't know how it was given. Robbie, by the way, I just said our friend and then done. Robbie Collins, Robbie Rants. He was in the chat talking about how he doesn't know how it wasn't given as a straight red at the time, and I don't know how either. Baffled, absolutely baffled. A leg breaker from Berry Beningame, but Hearts did it again with 10 men, back to back games. Doing what champions do, I guess. At the moment, they are the champions elect. And if they just keep getting the wins, if they keep doing it, at the end of the season, they will be holding the SPFL trophy.
Yeah, exactly that. And to play, I think it must be over an hour and a half of football in the last two games with a man down and come away with two wins against two teams. Obviously, Dundee started the season pretty poorly, but in good form at Dens, especially, and St Mirren are a team that, although their league form has been horrendous this season by Stephen Robinson and St Mirren's usual recent standards, um, yeah, they're still a team that we know can beat anyone in this division. They've obviously got a couple of positive results against Hearts this season. They won in the League Cup on penalties. They drew with Hearts in the reverse fixture early in the league season. They've obviously got wins against Motherwell and Celtic as well in the League Cup. But I think something that if you're referencing to Robbie Rants there, he did have a Robbie rant last night. He was not happy at all with the St Mirren performance, and you can understand why playing against a team for that long with a man that have a man down and coming away and losing pretty easily in the end. Luckily that Adowu was okay to continue after that tackle, and he actually put the ball in the Hearts net twice, but both of them were disallowed for offsides correctly. So I think the first one especially, he'll be frustrated. He doesn't really need to be offside, and yeah, really disappointing from St Mirren. Two well taken goals by Lawrence Shankland and Magnuson. But I don't know if you've seen Stephen Robinson's post-match sort of interview with the BBC, but it's a must-watch. He goes through his players. He also takes responsibility himself, but yeah, you can see with the goals that Hearts scored, really poor from a St Mirren point of view and really worrying from a St Mirren point of view. 4 wins from 21 this season and top six. That Falkirk spot seems a long way away.
I don't think they should even be thinking about top six. I think they should be focusing on survival.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I think they should. I think they should as well. Sorry, but I just think that that's the sort of standard that St Mirren have set themselves recently. That
yeah,
I'm expecting a late season push, but I don't think they've got it on got it in their arsenal. I
yeah, they
think
just they just need to
they're
get
lucky that Levy and Kelly are poor teams.
yeah, they just need to get some wins because it's getting bad, like really bad. They're falling into that category. I mean, I was talking to Laurie last night, and he was talking about how he would group his team Kilmarnock, Livingston, and Dundee into that sort of three. And I'm going, I don't know. I think Dundee are showing a bit that they're perhaps a bit above. Use I think St Mirren are in real danger of falling into that group, being bundled in with that because I think the reason they're maybe not coming under as much scrutiny as maybe they should is because they've bought a lot of goodwill with previous seasons and obviously the League Cup win. And people like you, Ethan, and I'm guilty of it myself, going, St Mirren, they'll turn it around eventually, Stephen Robinson. But we've not seen any evidence of that yet, so they really need to get themselves in gear, or they could be in real trouble come the end of the season. It could be a three-way dogfight, just like there's a three-way title fight going on right now. It could be that end. It could be like that at the other end of the table, and as much it would be entertaining for outsiders to look at, those supporters will not be enjoying themselves from here on in.
Yeah, exactly that. And I know it's a very quick reaction and review of the two matches, but We've got more important issues in today's episode, and we'll
Yeah,
be back to our full. Well, not actually, it won't be full round the house at the weekend because obviously it's Scottish Cup action, and we'll bring the episode to you and
I've,
cover all the key
by the way,
highlights from that
I've got a
that round.
I've got a little issue with your titling. You said underperforming, I said worst. Because if it was underperforming, my team would be completely different. Like, because I'd have, I know you're trying to say that to be nice, but if it was underperforming, I'd have maybe Daisen Maeda in there, and you know, and a couple more players who maybe you know, aren't the worst team this season, but aren't the worst
Yeah,
players.
but Dyson Maeda's not the. If you're putting in an underperforming team, you're not putting Dyson Maeda in it.
He has
He still
underperformed.
scored some of the most amount of goals in the league. I know he's not been great by his standards, but he still scored a fair
Yeah,
amount
but
of
he's
goals. He's far
underperforming.
from the worst player in the Celtic team.
Yeah, I know, but if Mo Salah scores 15 goals in a season, it's not in a Premier League season. You know, it's not bad. He's not one of the worst, but he's still underperforming by his standards. So, you know, that. Do you get what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say?
No, I do get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, but my sort of looking at it is that if any player's being considered as having a poor season, then that's an underperformance because you look to be having to be considered having an okay season or a good season. And yeah, I understand the point you make, but yeah, we're looking for the real players that have surprised you how poor they've been. And when you've seen them play, because me and Alex, we don't watch every game of the Scottish Premiership, neither does anyone. But from what we've seen, the statistics, the highlights, the games we've watched live this season, this is the two teams that we've selected. And I hope there's some interesting shouts in there that we can debate on both teams. I think will we start with the our team of the season if you're ready to go with that.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Okay, right. Okay, well, I'll let you go first. We'll start obviously goalkeeper, and I'll let you go first. Just tell me your thinking. Who's who's like came close, and then who's obviously your selection as your goalkeeper for your midway point in the season, team of the season.
Okay, so I've gone with a 4-3-3, but with a team of the season, I've kind of tried to shoehorn certain players in as well. So starting on my goalkeeper, it was tough because I don't think any goalkeepers have been standout. This one, I think, when he popped into my mind, I went, yeah, guaranteed. Because well, you know, if you look at the obvious candidates, Casper Schmeichel's probably going to make it into the other team. Jack Butland's been fine, but he's not been outstanding. Dimitar Mitov, who we had been praising, has had a stinking few weeks. So it's tough. But I have gone with Motherwell's Callum Ward, who every time I've seen him, he's pulling off world class saves. I think he's excellent, and he's far and away for me the best goalkeeper this season. I've not seen. There might have been something earlier in the season that I've forgotten about, but I've not seen any major errors, any talk about him being poor, any talk from Motherwell fans wanting him out the squad. And he's been one. You know, a lot of the outfield players are getting credit, and they will get credit later on in my team. A wee peak there, but he's been terrific this season, and I think he deserves his props.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've went for someone slightly different, but I did have Callum Ward in my team for a lot of the prep going into this. I think he deserves a spot, and I can't really argue with it. Least joint least goals conceded in the league, most clean sheets, obviously for that Motherwell team as well, which is going to realise is a bit of a problem with my team. But in goals, I've went with Raphael Salinger at Hibs. I think he's been an excellent addition for Hibs. We spoke last season, obviously, John Smith came in and he steadied the ship, but I think we understood that if Hibs wanted to go to that next level, try and qualify for Europe and really go again in the league, they would maybe need to bring someone else in. And it took a wee while for Salinger to nail down that sort of first spot, but I think he has now. And from what I've seen from the Hibs fans, they're saying he's the best goalkeeper they've had in a while. So obviously we've seen that as well in instances. I remember him making an excellent save against Dundee at Easter Road, and of course the save late in the derby against Hearts to stop Lawrence Shanklin's shot, which ultimately won Hibs that game. But I think they were the two that were in my mind, Ward and Salinger, and I think you could make very good cases for both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Salinger has been very good. Maybe another honourable mention, although he's not had a lot to do this season. He did get sent off at the weekend there, but Alexander Swallow as well. He's been the goalkeeper for the best team in the league this season, so a shout to him as well. But yeah, I'd totally agree. I think those two are deserving mentions, and also make sure to let us know what you think, who your team is. Put it in the comments. Let us know if you think we're talking out our backsides. If we
Yeah,
don't know anything about Scottish football, let us know that. So yeah, I
yeah,
enjoyed doing
yeah.
this content. It
Please,
was fun.
yeah, please do so. We obviously try and correct each other and argue when we can because that's what it's about. It's about discussion, about giving your opinion. But obviously, we understand that we've not watched the Hibs and Motherwell goalkeeper as near as much as the Hibs and Motherwell fans have this season. So if you feel different, then please leave a comment in the video or on the Spotify episode. Moving on to the left back position, I'll let you go first again.
Okay,
What's your thinking?
so this one I struggled a little bit. I mean, for me, there's not really been any standout left backs this season. I mean, I guess you could, if you wanted to shoehorn in Harry Milne, um, move, obviously more plays that wing back position, but you could put him in there. He's been very good, but just off of the sort of statistics he's achieved this season so far, and in a very poor Celtic team, I've gone with Kieran Tierney at left back. Obviously, this is a Premiership team of the season, but you can also perhaps take into account his important goal, helping send Scotland to the World Cup. So yeah,
Yeah,
really, really positive. I think this season from Kieran Tierney, and I think it's 3 goals and 7 assists he's got in all competitions this season. I don't think you could ignore those numbers from a left back position. So yeah, despite maybe the spotlight not being on him because of how poor Celtic have been, I've gone with Kieran Tierney, and I think every time I've watched Celtic this season, he's looked like one of the ones that are maybe playing in a team that is below his level.
yeah, that's exactly where I've went. And yeah, Harry Milne, I think, was certainly a myth a shout earlier in the season when Kieran Tierney wasn't even able to finish those 90-minute games, coming back from obviously trying to build his fitness up. But you can see, I think, that he's gradually getting better week in, week out as he gets back up to probably some of the highest fitness level he's had since he was last at Celtic. And yeah, it's excellent to see, obviously, from a Scotland point of view as well, what he done in that game, coming off the bench at right back, of course, to get that goal. But yeah, I have Kieran Tierney as well. I think I'd completely agree with you. And even through the Wilfred Nancy struggles, I thought he was one of the stronger Celtic players in the left of a back three or playing on the wing back area. So yeah, I'd say Kieran Tierney. But yeah, Harry Milne really unlucky to miss out,
Yep.
especially his performance at Ibrox is the one that comes to mind. Although he played, was it right midfield he played on that day? Or
Oh,
something like that.
I don't even know.
It was he wasn't left back anyway, but he's shown he's very versatile. But I'd just go with Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, just quickly as well though. He's not been standout, but Jaden McGoma I think has matured and he's become a consistent, consistently good player. He's you know, those kind of players they'll always give you a 7 out of 10. For me, Jaden McGoma has become that. And hopefully a bit of the pressure will be taken off him now in his first season in senior football. Of course, Rangers announced the signing of Tour Romans yesterday, so hopefully he can a bit of the weight can be taken off of him. But yeah, Jaden McGowan's been decent this season also.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. And another one who I was kind of tempted by, but just looked over him a little bit was Emmanuel Ongelo. obviously he's been a really exciting player, I imagine, for the Motherwell fans amongst many. But yeah, he's obviously contributed a lot on the offensive end as well. So yeah,
He basically just plays in the front line. I don't think I've ever seen him defending. He's always just in the front line. But yeah, no,
yeah,
Emmanuel Longello has been very good this season also.
yeah, right. Well, moving on to the central defenders. Obviously, we've got more to pick from here. We've got more to pick. Two centre backs. And yeah, I think there's a few you could go for here, but I think it is pretty narrowed uh, sort of candidates. I imagine you've got a Hearts defender in your back too.
I've got two Hearts defenders in my back
You get
too.
have you got two Hearts defenders? Fair enough. I've only went for one, so
Okay.
I'm guessing you went for Craig Halkett and Stuart Finlay, and Stuart Finlay was certainly one I considered, along
Yeah.
with Motherwell defenders as well, because as I said, the problem with my team earlier is that despite Motherwell having the most clean sheets and the least goals conceded, I've not got a Motherwell defensive player or a defender or goalkeeper in my team.
You've not put
But
Liam
I have went
Shields in.
for
Have you put Liam
what?
Shields in?
No, 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 not Liam Scales. Liam Scales probably would have been in my shout early in the season, but I think the period of him being out of the team with Wilfred Nancy, this might surprise you, but I've went for Rangers Emmanuel Fernandez.
What? I
Right, and listen, this is not.
can't believe you put him in.
No, 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 no.
He's not played half the bloody season.
Yes, he has. Yeah, but he's played enough to qualify for the team. Sorry. Oh, yeah, we didn't mention to the viewers that you have to have started 10 Premiership games to make an appearance in either team. And the reason I have Emmanuel Fernandez in the team is by no means his defensive capabilities or qualities, but I think the fact that he's got such a threat in the opposing team's box. And I know he's scored the same amount of goals as Finlay and Halkett in the league. Yes, I know that. But I think Fernandez will see this trend continue, and I think what he offers in the opposition's penalty area is enough
I
to
would,
strike fear into the opposition, and that's why he's in my team.
no, I would be lying if it didn't cross my mind. But the reason I didn't put him in is exactly what you just described. These defensive capabilities. He's improving. I mean, he's not had howlers like one other player that's potentially going to be in my worst team. But he's not had howlers or anything like that. He's just maybe looked a wee bit dodgy at times, but I think he's still getting there. The reason I've gone with Finlay, obviously, I think Halkett for us, there's not a lot to say. He's just guaranteed in. There's been talks of a Scotland call up at 30 years old. It's been a tremendous season for him. But Finlay, for me, I think he beat out Fernandez because he can do it at both ends. So, and I know you said you think Fernandez will surpass and continue to keep scoring, and I agree with you. But I think right now, for me, Stuart Finlay just edges it. Might when we come to the end of the season, Fernandez maybe has 10 goals in the league. Rangers might be left in the SPFL, and it might be different. But as of right now, I think Stuart Finlay for me, and obviously
Yep.
Big Halkett.
That's another one like your Callum Ward shout. I can't argue with it. It's one that I pivoted from. I did have Stuart Finlay in my team as well, but I obviously went elsewhere. But yeah, a few of the other honourable mentions that came to mind were your Stephen Welsh, Paul McGinn, obviously the Motherwell usual back two before Stephen Welsh has been recalled to Celtic, and hopefully for his sake he gets to go back there. I think for the remainder of the season, unless, of course, he
Have
has
they?
sold
Why
elsewhere.
have they just recalled him so Martin O'Neill can assess him, or what's
I
going on?
think he's just recalled. I think it's just purely on a sort of backup numbers basis because Celtic have only got three recognised central defenders: Scales, Trusty, and Dane Murray fit at the minute, obviously with Cameron Carter-Vickers' injury. So I think it is just a case of getting cover in. Obviously,
Did Murray make 10 or more SPFL starts in the early
no,
days?
he did not. No,
Oh, okay.
he could be in that game. To be fair, he could be in that based off that Tynecastle game alone because that was unfortunately one of the worst centre back performances I think I've ever seen. But yeah, he's not played enough games, and I think that may have unfortunately ruined his Celtic career as a game that for a defender that kind of thing can happen. But yeah, hopefully Stephen Welsh gets to play football in the second half of the season, wherever that may be. Moving on to the final position in the defence, it's going to be right back, and I went for something a little bit different here. Maybe not. I'm not going to say he's played right back this season, but he has played right back before, and I'm just going to tell you him right now. He plays for Hibs, and his name is Josh Mulligan.
Oh, that's a wee bit unconventional. Shoehorning Josh Mulligan in there. Yeah, okay.
Well,
No,
he played right back for Dundee, so and he can play there. So I wanted to get him in my team, and there was no right. There is one right back that I'll give an honourable mention, but none of them were jumping out to me, so that's why I've got him in.
well, I've gone traditional, and I've gone with a right back, just because, like you said, there wasn't any right backs I think that jumped out to me, and he's scored a few goals this season, got a couple of assists, the usual for this guy.
Um,
I've just gone with James Tavernier. Just what I didn't
I can't have that. I can't
I
have
didn't
that. That can't.
I didn't think outside the box like you did. Um, he's been good. James
Yeah, but
Tavernier.
he's not even started some of like the biggest games in the season. Like he didn't even start the last Derby game. He's not been bad, but
Well,
he's not
if
been team of the season level. I don't think.
unfortunately, I don't think Dujon qualifies, so I would have put Dujon in there. But he's not qualified, so
Right, okay. None of the right backs look too great, so I'll just put the Rangers right back in because the other one's not eligible because he's not played enough games.
no, yeah. What do you want? Well, Tavernier's better than
Right.
the
You want
rest
me
of
to tell you who my honourable mention was?
Who's your
Who
honourable mention?
I thought
Jordi
he was ex.
Altena.
What is it?
Jordi Altena.
No, 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 not quite enough games for him. Someone who I think has been uh, absolutely excellent this season from what I've seen, from what the statistics and ratings have suggested, and I thought he was absolutely excellent again last night. Philip Lisa, I think he's been an excellent bit of business for
I did.
Falkirk to
I
pick
did
up on
think.
loan
I
from
did think about
Falkirk,
Phil. I did think about
from
Philip
Falkirk
Lissa.
from Swansea.
I did think
Yeah,
about Philip Lissa. But I don't think he's been in the team long enough yet. It's not been like his spot for a while. So also as well, James Tavernier's 10th in the league for goals and assists combined, and he's not, like you said, he's not even started some of the games this season. So
okay, fair
eight,
enough, fair enough.
eight
You
goals,
didn't.
8 goals and assists. That's the same amount as Stamatolopoulos, Eli Just, who might get an honourable mention later on. Um, More than Zachary Sapsford, Cameron Congreve, more than Kieran Tierney, who I put in off the numbers. More than Emmanuel Longello, Arnott Engels, Raskin. The list goes on. So that's
Okay, fair enough,
put
fair
James
enough.
in there.
I'll let you have it. Okay, so I'm guessing. Well, yeah, we both have went with three central midfielders.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
okay, what are the? Let me see. Have you got? I'm guessing you've got one that plays for Motherwell.
I do. I didn't initially, but then I was reminded of him and I went, oh, I can't not have him in. So I'll start by saying my honourable mention because I couldn't shoehorn him into the attack either because I just think the three attackers that I've got pip him. Honourable mention to Benjamin Negrin. I spoke about him earlier in the show. He's been very good. He's flown under the radar, been bagging goals, and what has been a dreadful season for him to come into Celtic. So yeah, honourable mention to him. Um, so I'll start with my Motherwell midfielder. I think maybe you might have the same guy, Ethan. He's been linked with Rangers in the January transfer window, and it's been a terrific season for him. I've gone with Elliot Watt.
Yes, yeah, I've got him in. I've got him in there as well. I think he was a cert to be in my team, and Benjamin Negrin also in my honourable mentions. I think although Negrin's been by far Celtic's high scorer this season. I think his overall play across the games hasn't been good enough to warrant getting in this team because it is very difficult for possessions. And I've got one massive omission, which I'm sure you're going to absolutely destroy me for not having in my team. Not in the midfield, further forward, but
Okay.
uh,
What's okay? I'm a wee bit curious now who this massive omission is, but we'll get there when we'll get there, I guess.
yeah. Well, I might switch it. I might just go with the boring
No, no, no,
option,
no,
but
no. Stick to your guns. I want to hear this.
okay,
But
okay. I'll
we'll
stick with my guns.
stay on the middle of the park for now, eh? So we've both got Elliot Watt. He's been tremendous. He's popped up with some cracking goals, as I like to call him. Elliot Watt a goal. Ethan hates it. Um,
No, no.
no, that's our official name for him in the dugout. Elliot Watt a goal. So yeah, um, I'm going to save the best for last. Uh, Probably the player of the season, I think, so far. Um, Unfortunately, could be out injured though after last night. But Connor Barron is my next one. I've got in. Um, he's injured as well now, but I think he's been tremendous.
Like Connor Barron's the best player of the season.
No, I'm saying I'm saving the best for last.
All
Like,
right, okay, right. Yeah, I thought, yeah, we
why
could get
did you look?
that. Yeah.
I was wondering why you were looking so
No,
confused. It's because you.
no, that's fine, that's fine. No, that's fine. Connor Barron, he didn't make my team. He was very close, but he didn't quite make my team. He's in the honourable mentions team.
Okay.
But I had the same man as you do alongside Elliot Watt and the double pivot, which I have in my team actually. Cammy Devlin, who, yeah, I would agree. He's my lead candidate for player of the season at the minute.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, my last one is Cammy Devlin. So my midfield is Cammy Devlin, Elliot Watt, and Connor Barron. I don't think you're getting past that. Just wanted to say a little bit about Connor Barron. I understand why you maybe wouldn't have put him in, but I think he's been terrific. He's been one of the standouts under Danny Rowe. He's controlled games. I mean, at the Aberdeen game on Tuesday, he was terrific. Um, Especially I thought we would miss him. Uh, I think we missed him initially in the game against Aberdeen on Sunday, but we Rangers adjusted and Diamandi and Nicholas Raskin did a good job in there as well. But yeah, Conor Barron, he's in my team. Ethan, who's your final midfielder?
My final midfielder, a little bit more attacking with this one. Another Hibs midfielder, Jamie McGrath, makes it
Jamie
into my
McGrath.
team. Yeah, I know, I know the reference. I know the reference. I'm sure the viewers do as well. To you and Cameron's realization that unfortunately Jamie McGrath's a Republic of Ireland international instead of being able to represent Scotland. I think we touched on that the other day as well, didn't we? But yeah, Jamie McGrath goes into my team.
Yeah,
As I said, Conor Barron easily could have been in there, as could have Benjamin Negrin, and the other one I had was sort of if I had to throw in another honourable mention would have been Lucas Fadinger, who I think's been really solid alongside Elliot Watt. Moving on to our front three, we'll go. Well, what are the clubs of the players you've got in your front three? I've got two clubs across
I've,
my front three.
I've got two clubs as well.
I'm guessing your two clubs are Hearts and Motherwell.
Hearts and Rangers.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
okay.
It's Hearts and Motherwell.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, yeah. Right, okay, so I'm guessing that you've got Lauren Shankland on your team,
Mm-hmm.
Alexandros Kasridis on your team,
Yep.
and Tawanda Maswanisi on your team.
Yeah, that's. Oh wait, actually no. Sorry, I got confused. I do not have Kazridis in my team.
Oh, you don't have Kasridis on your team? Okay, right.
No,
Well, who do
sorry.
you have instead?
I just parroted I was just agreeing with everything you said. No, I have Tawanda Maswinisi, Lawrence Shankland, and all we need is Claudio Braga and my
Okay, okay.
front
That's
three.
fair
So,
enough.
thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in for the singing there. If anyone's there, if any talent scouts are watching, Get me
Don't
in.
think they are. Don't think they are, and don't think they'll be picking you up anyway. Okay, I've got two Hearts and I've got two. No, I've got two Hearts and I've got a Motherwell. So I've got Lawrence Shankland. I've went for Alexandros Kasridis, but I've not got Tawanda Maswanisi in my team.
You've got Eli Just,
Yes, I have, and
but
I know
James
that's a bit,
Tavernier has more goal contributions than Eli Just this season.
but it's not all about goal contributions. It's about their impact on their team, and I think Elijah Justice had a greater impact on his team, barring goals, than Tawanda Maswanise. And that may sound stupid, but Tawanda Maswanise has not scored the amount of goals where he has to be in the team regardless. I think Elijah Justice contributed a lot. He's got a few assists. He's created a lot of chances, and it's very, very harsh on Tawanda Maswanise, I know. And I hope by the end of the season that he scores a ridiculous amount of goals. And based on the rate he's been at since he's returned from AFCON, he probably will be in my
I
team. And
disagree. I
that's
disagree.
maybe the reason he's not in the team is because he had that spell of a couple of weeks or a few weeks away in AFCON, then he might have scored more goals in
He
that
went,
time. And
he went away to AFCON and he's still like the second top scorer in the league.
yeah, I know it's very harsh, but someone had to miss out, and
Harsh.
unfortunately, it's him.
Harsh. I think it's insanity.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, I'll take my criticism for that, but I'm sticking with my decision. I think
Goals,
Elijah Justice
goals and
is
assists as well. Oh, um, you've put in Kizridis
yeah.
over.
It's not all about goals and assists. It's not. But it was all about goals and
They're
assists and have Benjamin
attackers.
Neal in the team. Yeah, I know, but in terms of their overall productivity of creating chances and other
Well,
stuff for teammates, it's about
Claudio Braga's got more expected goals, combined goals and assists than Kizridis this season.
he's got more goals and assists than
He's got more goals and assists, and he's got more expected goals and assists than
right.
Kizridis.
Okay, but the reason of Claudio Braga, I'll tell you why he's not in my team. He was in my honourable mentions, but the reason he's not in my team is because I think at some points, although he's been an absolutely excellent signing for Hearts, he scored an excellent goal at Dens Park. I think sometimes he's a wee bit wasteful compared to the other and two in the front two, Lawrence Shankland and Alexandros Kasridis, and that's why I've
Well,
not went for Claudio Braga. But
he's only underperforming. He's expected goals and assists by 0.2. So he's basically, performing exactly the way he should.
yeah, 0.2, that's quite a lot though. Shanklin's overperforming his by like overperforming his goals, I think, by 0.3. And I know the XG stat isn't.
He's overperforming his expected goals and assists by three flat. Braga's
Oh
underperforming
yeah,
by
0.3 by yeah.
0.2. Because Reedus is underperforming his by 0.3 if you want to make that argument.
Okay, but I just think Casridis is. I don't mean. I also don't mean wasteful as in terms of just shooting chances. In terms of it's sometimes decision making and stuff like that. That's why I've not got Claudio Braga in my team. I think sometimes it's a little.
Tawanda Maswanisi is outperforming his by 4.6.
Yeah, but I'm not going off. I've said I'm not going off stats. I'm going off what I've seen and the
Eli
games I've
Just
seen.
Eli Just is overperforming by 1.5.
Right.
So
Well, from what I've seen, the games I've seen, and the highlights I've seen, it was a difficult decision. Like any of them could have been in the team. Like I'm not arguing with you for having Braga or having Maswanisi in your team. Had excellent seasons and they've been excellent signings for the team. Obviously, Maswanisi has been at Motherwell for two campaigns now, or a campaign and a half, if you want to put it that way. But Braga, an excellent bit of business from Hearts. Yeah, they were in my honourable mentions along with Kieran Bowie is the other one. But
do you
yeah,
want to hear who the player of the season so far is, according to FOTMob? With a
it's Emmanuel Fernandez, isn't it?
yeah. Oh, Manny Fernandez, player of the season. What we saying?
Yeah, that shows that the ratings and whatever don't mean an awful lot. But yeah, that's what I went for my bold shout. So Motherwell fans, please give me criticism in the comments and tell me if I'm correct on Elijah Just having a better season so far than Tawanda Maswanisi or not.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
Well, possibly, but you know, I'm just making it entertaining. Anyway,
I
are
think
you ready?
one more honourable mention as well, Cameron Congreve. Um, he's been very good this season. He's up there with Kazridis, top of the assist charts for Dundee. We've seen his quality time and time again. So I just wanted to give him a little shout.
Yeah, fair enough. I actually didn't have any. Well, none of us did have any players out with the top five teams, did we?
No,
So yeah, I mean, you don't expect it to when Hearts, Motherwell, and Hibs are having such great seasons. Celtic and Rangers less, so that's why we've got so
yeah,
little players from their teams. But yeah, I think I finished up with four Motherwell players. Sorry, no, no, four Hearts players, three Hibs players, two Motherwell players, one Celtic player, and one Rangers player.
I didn't have a single Hibs player in my team. Um,
Huh?
I had I had one, two, three Motherwell, two Rangers, one Celtic, and all the rest were Hearts for me. So
Fair enough. Can't disagree with that. But ready to move on to our most underperforming 11 of the season?
worst 11 of the season, yeah. I've
Okay, if
got,
you want to call it that.
I've actually, looking at this team, I think I've got more players in the top half than the bottom half. So it's quite interesting. I mean, you could go so many ways with this. It's all down to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the team of the season is easy to pick out, just the best players. You get away with saying the players that have scored the most goals, most assists, and nobody can really argue with it because that's the most important part of the game. But with this one, you need to really think of who you've seen and who you think's made errors, who's been at the heart of poor performances consistently, their team underperforming, stuff like that. But as I said, this one, yeah, I think we'll earn our critics from the teams in this one, possibly, or we'll knock it the nail bang on the head and we'll get every player right. But I think there's going to be some maybe don't know controversy and disagreements in this one. But I don't think there'll be a disagreement in between the sticks. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, this is my favourite bit. In between goals, I've got the man who's having a horror season. Um, I'm never gonna let Ethan live that down. I've got Casper. I can't get down quick enough. Schmeichel. He's been horrific. Made goalkeeping errors. He's made errors passing out from the back. Responsible for a few goals solely this season. And do you know one thing that irks me about him? For such an experienced player, he seems to have no accountability. Anytime he messes up, especially with the passes, he's always looking around like this. Like, where are you? I don't know where you're looking, mate. You're the one who's messing everything up. You're rubbish. You have been rubbish, and he should retire after this season. He's been dreadful. He's been absolutely dreadful. I mean, if he wants, he can go to like Saudi or whatever and earn the bag where they don't really need to play football. But um, yeah, Kasper Schmeichel has been horrendous, absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's in for my 11. From the standards of last season to the standards of this season have been night and day, really. And yeah, I think he has to be in the team. But he obviously made a really good save last night and kept a clean sheet. Maybe we're being a little bit too harsh on him, but there's no other goalkeeper in the league I think that I can put alongside him, especially when we've gave Dimitar Mitov, who a lot of Aberdeen fans have gave stick. We gave him a lot of praise for some of his performances this season. Some other honourable mentions who didn't make 10 starts, but I think need to be in with a shout.
Eddie
I know
Beach,
actually, what?
Eddie Beach.
No, he didn't make enough. He didn't make enough. I don't think I can even. He made like
He's
three
an
starts. I
honourable.
was.
He's an honourable mention though.
Yeah, he is. But the one I was thinking of that I nearly put in my team, but I know you wouldn't let me have anyone but Kasper Schmeichel. It was going to be Yevgeny Kucherenko at Dundee United, who's already found a new club in Greece with Panathinaikos. So yeah, that was my honourable
Yeah,
mention, but he's away now anyway, so yeah.
no, that's a shout. But yeah, you're right. I wouldn't have let you with away anyone except Casper Schmeichel, as our mate calls him, the Pie Man. Uh, oh, and that's not a quote from me. That's from our friend. So no disrespect to Casper Schmeichel, but he's been rubbish this season, and yeah, a huge drop off in standards for himself. I mean, because he was still decent last season. I mean, I think maybe it's that injury that's done him because
Yeah.
he looks like he's not been able to get back to fitness. Um, so yeah, we all laugh and joke, but you forget that sometimes there's real people here. So yeah, Kasper Schmeichel's been very very poor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These guys are all 100 times better footballers than we'll ever dream to be, but unfortunately they've been the worst in their respective positions this season. Moving into the back four, I think this is the outfield positions is where it just gets wild, and we'll both be throwing in shouts that we didn't even each of us didn't think of. But who have you got at left back?
I've gone with a man who has been so fuming that he tried to scrap with fans earlier in the season. He's had a howler, maybe not so much on the pitch, although his team's not been great. I doubt he's been great either. But I've gone with Dominic Thompson. Awful. Kilmarnock have been awful. And then obviously after that game, he's arguing with fans, throwing his own teammates off of him, trying to fight Brian Graham. So yeah, I've gone with Dominic Thompson at left back.
Really? I think that's really harsh. No, I'm only joking. I've got him as well. So we're 2 for 2 so far. I went for that approach as well. I think, yeah, I think his season's going to be remembered, unfortunately, unless he can turn it around like Kilmarnock can in the second half of the season under Neil McCann for arguing with the fans that are a small minority of the fans at Rugby Park. So yeah, I've got Dominic Thompson in at left back as well. Moving into the central of defence, do you want to say what the two teams of the players you've got?
I've got Rangers and Kilmarnock.
Oh, another commanding player. I've got Rangers and Dundee United. So I think the Rangers player we might both have the same one. Would that be
Have you
fair to
got
say?
Bert Esselink?
No, not better Link.
Who's the other one? Who's been really
Uh,
bad?
Christian Carestes I've got.
Jan Crestes has been that bad.
I think I could have had him or Link. I think they've had some
I think
really
Esselink's
poor
been worse
moments.
than him. Now that you've brought up Dundee United, it's actually sparked. I'd probably have in Esselink over the Kilmarnock player I've got in, but I'll stick with my guns just now. But and give my reasonings. But yeah, I think Esselink's been the standout stinker. If you were to choose.
Yeah, I was really conflicted between the two because I think they've both had some errors this season, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I think I could have went for either of them, but I went for Crestez in the end. And I'm guessing your Rangers defender is Nasser Giga.
Yeah,
Is that
I
correct?
mean, before he went off to AFCON, he did have a decent run of games, but I think he just did too much early in the season to not be in this team. Um, some really high profile errors, especially in the Champions League qualifiers as well. Yeah, he's not been great. That's an understatement, but yeah, he's back now. So hopefully he can kick on and get back into the team. But I think Rangers centre back slots are solidified at the moment. Manny Fernandez, I think, has made that spot his own. There's no way he's displacing John Souttar. So yeah, Nasser Giga is my Rangers, not my first Rangers player in this team, but yeah, he's in there. And my other centre back, I went with Robbie Dees. Um, Obviously, I just think Kilmarnock have been really poor. I think he's one that comes to mind with, maybe at the heart of it. I did consider Lewis Mayo as well, also. But yeah, I just think you can't go through. Interestingly enough, I don't have any Livingston players in this team. I think me and Ethan were discussing this, and it's kind of difficult. We can't think of any standout. I mean, if we were going to go with a worst team of the season, we could just go a Livingston Kilmarnock combined 11, or just go with a Livingston 11. But I couldn't think of any standout poor players to put in Livingston. I just think they've all been quite poor. I mean, Jerome Prior has dropped off massively. He's made a few errors as well. You know, Brian McGowan has been poor. Danny Wilson has been poor as well. So yeah, I
They're a
just
safe, they're a safe bet, Kilmarnock and Livingston, because they have been so poor this season that I don't think there's many Kilmarnock or Livingston fans that are really going to be fighting many of their players' cases because yeah, they've both had terrible seasons. So yeah, they're always going to be a safe shout in a team like this. But yeah, Robbie Dees is a fair shout. And moving on to the final position and the defence at right back, who have you went for?
I've gone with an Aberdeen player.
Oh, who's that?
Will you tell me what team you went with?
I went for Nicky Devlin.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not as different as we thought. I think we're 4 for 5 so far. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think Nicky Devlin, the drop off's been huge. From what was probably the season of his life last season, he just looked sluggish. Especially, I think at the 2 games against Rangers, it gave me a light on it in recent weeks. But he just looked bad. He really struggled. I mean, Mikey Moore in the first game had him on strings. Then Gassama had a go at him later on, and they are talented players, but he just looked miles off it. And this season, he hasn't been very good at all. He's had a few errors, a red card, I think, against Falkirk as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nicky Devlin for me is in there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the same thinking as you. He had an excellent campaign last year with Aberdeen on that brilliant run to start the season. Of course, made his Scotland debut as well. Came on to help against Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal to that nothing each straw at Hampden Park. And yeah, to go from there to where he has been with this Aberdeen team, which, in fairness, you could have put a lot of Aberdeen players in this team based off their drop off from.
He's not my last Aberdeen player in this
No,
team.
no, he's not mine either. But there is a that's what I'm saying. Like Aberdeen, because of the standards that the Aberdeen fans expect, and we expect of a club of Aberdeen size to perform how well they're expected to perform in the Premiership. They've been way below that this season, and you could put a few in there. But yeah, I think Nicky Devlin has had a pretty poor campaign, and unfortunately, he makes up the defence along with these other three defenders and Casper Schmeichel in goals. And moving on to the midfield, I'll tell you the clubs of the players I've got, and then you can tell me the players of the clubs you've got. I've went with a Livingston player, a Kilmarnock player, and a Celtic player. So yeah, that's my midfield
Oh,
three.
I think I'm a bit different from you. I've gone with a Celtic player, a Rangers player, and another Aberdeen player.
Okay, I think I might be able to guess who you have.
Okay, wait.
Right.
So I'll guess you first. You went Celtic, Livingston, Kilmarnock.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
yeah, yeah.
So Real Hatate,
Yes,
I've got him as well.
yeah,
Uh, so you don't need to. You can guess the other two. I mean, I think Hatate was the obvious one.
yeah.
Um, Livingston and Kilmarnock. Oof. Kelly, Brad Lyons.
Yes, Brad Lyons, same kind of thinking as Robbie Dees at the heart of a really poor Kilmarnock team, and unfortunately he takes his place in the team alongside Ray Hattati, who on his day, I've said that a number of times, can be the best player in the country, but he's been far from that this
Yeah, he's,
season, and
he's been
his
awful.
levels have taken a massive drop. And yeah, he'll do well to get back in that starting 11 if Benjamin Negrin keeps scoring at the rate he
Yeah,
has been.
and like we said, though, Negrin has been scoring lots of goals, but he's maybe not been the best overall performance. Really, Tati's just offering nothing. Um, and I think me and you were talking about, does he look like he has one eye on the door? And you said potentially, you could see that. But I don't know who would take him at this point. He's been awful. This is potentially his worst season
Yeah.
No, it's his worst season since joining Celtic. You might even, if you look back at his career in Japan, it might even be his worst season before a certain amount of seasons in Japan as well. So
Yeah, he was a bit better when he came on last night, but he's still the same sort of characteristics were there, holding on to the ball for too long and giving it away and sloppily. So yeah, that's been the key things for him this season, and yeah, I think he has to be in that team. But the Livingston player, are you gonna get it?
yeah,
You're looking at the Livingston squad to try and get
I
the
am. I
best
just
idea who I've put in.
I just need to refresh my memory because Livingston have signed so many players this season. Um, hmm.
Yeah, this is a
Oh, a signing they made in the summer. A man who we both thought would be an excellent signing for Livingston has turned out to be garbage. Mo Salah.
Yes, that's exactly where I went with that. And yeah, I thought it was going to be an excellent signing for him, as both of us did. It's obviously not turned out that way. And yeah, I think he's been really disappointing. And I think, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I had Mo Salah in my worst 11 last season as well. So yeah, really unfortunate for him. And I think the same as Real Hitati, we've I think I've grown to expect really good performances from these kind of players in the league, and when they're performing so poorly, I get really disappointed in them, should I say, and that's why they're on my team.
Okay, okay. Do you want to try and guess mine? Rangers and
Oh,
Aberdeen.
right, Aberdeen. I'm going to go with again. I think you could have went with any of the Aberdeen players, but I think the easy player would to go with would it be Graham Shinnie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've gone with Graham Shinnie. I think he's much like Nicky Devlin. He's just looked off the pace. He's looked a bit past it for this sort of level of football. He is older. I remember Aberdeen fans complaining about when they had Nielsen and Shinnie in the middle of the park last season, talking about how they've got guy. They've just it looks like they've just picked up two guys from a retirement home and put them in the middle of the park, no legs. And I think Shinnie continues with that theme. He gave away a penalty. I mean, maybe a lot of Aberdeen players are fresh in the mind on me because obviously Rangers played them back to back, but he gave away a penalty. He's given away a lot of silly fouls. He just looks behind the pace, and he's looked that way in most of the games I've seen him this season, especially in those two Rangers games. So I've gone with Graham Shinnie.
yeah, and I think the thing with Graham Shinnie as well is that looking at it, he's played some of the most games out of the midfield because they've got a lot of players to play in those positions. The fact that he's played a lot of those games maybe shows that he isn't the worst because Jimmy Tilleen and now Peter Leven keeps picking him. But I've had Graham Shinnie in my team as well. He's like Nicky Devlin. He's a big character in that dressing room, and when things are going wrong, these are the type of players you turn to. And yeah, Graham Shinnie obviously had an excellent career, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think it is coming to the end now.
I actually need to fact check my last one. I'm sure he has made more than. Oh,
Oh,
oh! I need to change.
oh. Well, to be fair, the player I was going to say was going to be really controversial, so I'm glad you didn't make me say that. It wasn't really controversial, but
I'm gonna say Nico Raskin.
yeah, well,
I'm
this
gonna
is the thing.
throttle you if you were gonna say Nico Raskin.
Well, this is the thing. If we're going off underperforming
Well, he's not.
11,
He's not underperforming anymore. He's been terrific.
yeah, but he's been I don't know. For the player who's meant to be the best midfielder in the league, I think in some of the big games he's disappointed this season, and that's why I
Well,
think you might have went for him.
well, he got in the last big game. He was pretty damn good. I mean, he burst into the box and
Wasn't good in the first half though.
played it across for a big Yusuf, um, who hasn't had 10 starts in the league, so Ethan's not putting him in his worst 11. But, um, you know, he's been good recently, Ethan, really. And I
No,
think
it would be being harsh, but I just thought you might, as a bit of a wild shout, you might have went there because I looked at the starts of the Rangers midfielders because I wanted to put one in because I think it's the heart of the team, isn't it? And when Celtic and Rangers are not playing well, then you're going to look to the midfield. That's why really Tatty's in my team. But none of the Rangers players really stuck out in that area of the pitch. So I'm guessing you're having to redraft someone. But
Yeah,
have you got someone there, or do you want to move on to
oh,
the forwards and then come back to it?
I've swapped for another Rangers midfielder. Just off the top of my head. Initially, I had Joe Rothwell, but he'd only started 5 Premiership games,
Yeah.
so I didn't realise that. I just assumed that the Russell Martin era he'd played those games, and then because I remember I think he did play maybe a couple games for Danny Role as well, not 100%, but I did have him. But I've switched now. Do you want to have a guess?
Uh, what, another Rangers midfielder?
Yeah,
Okay, well, look, well, I've tried to think who's had 10 starts. It's not, I think it's a toss up of two, really. One of them's found the back of the net a few times, but hasn't maybe performed the best, and the other hasn't performed to the levels I don't think that I think he can do. So let me see, I'm going to go with Taylor Asgard,
no,
Mohamed Diamande.
yeah, Mohamed
Yeah,
Diamande.
that's
I've gone with.
correct.
I don't think he's been worse than Tello Asgard, but if we're talking about underperforming, um, he's certainly in there. Um, he's he's been better in recent games. I think Danny Rose sort of taken him and got him back to doing what he does best. I mean, he's a, he's a box to box Diamande. He's very very good at that. And he does a lot more work on the defensive end. I think that people give him credit for. A lot of people view him as a 10 without actually watching him play, I think. So, yeah, Diamande, he's been better recently, but towards the start of the season, he was reckless challenges, red cards, just, going a bit mental, and he looked like he was losing his head almost every single match. So that's why I've got him in there.
Yeah, no, that I'm pretty sure, like Mo Salah had Mohamed Diamande in my team last year, and maybe it's a story of Mohamed Diamande's career at Rangers where you can see in games, especially some of the games against Celtic, obviously it comes on to great effect in the last one that there is an excellent player there, but he just can't always find it on a consistent basis, and hopefully for Rangers' sake he can, because I think he could be an excellent player for Rangers. But anyway. Moving on to the front three, I've not got really a conventional front three. I'm going to be honest here. I've went for three strikers because
I've
I
got
think strikers are also the easiest position to pick for this team because if a striker's not scoring goals, then
yeah,
it's a tap in.
I've got two strikers and a left winger.
Okay,
Um,
right. Okay, well, right. Do you want to say who your left winger is then? Because or let me know the team and maybe I can. Well, if it's a left winger, then I'm probably going to be able to guess it based off the team. But
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen left winger, is it? Is it Carlson?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's quite harsh, but
He came in to much fanfare, coming on loan from Bologna. I thought he was, I thought it was a great signing, but he's not. Maybe it's a sign of Aberdeen being so poor this season, but I think he's massively underperformed. Um, I mean, like he's got 6 goals for Aberdeen this season, um, 5 in the league, 1 in the Conference League, no assists. He's been struggling the past couple of years at Bologna, then Lecce, and I thought this was the chance for him. Come to a league that I know we try and talk up the Scottish Premiership, but it's worse than the Serie A. Obviously, come over to Aberdeen, find the form that you had at AZ, where in his last season at AZ he got 13 goals, 8 assists. Previous year, 21 goals, 15 assists, 12 goals, 9 assists. So come over, light it up, find your form again. But I think he's been poor. I haven't seen anything from him to warrant the fanfare and the hype that I had for him. I thought he'd be one of the best players in the Premiership this season. We're talking about Kizridis, we're talking about um, Braga, Shanklin, Maswinisi. I thought Carlson would be up there, and he's not. And I think maybe it's a personal vendetta, but it's like a massive disappointment because I really rated him, and I've got good memories of playing with his Player of the Month Eredivisie card and FIFA and stuff. Maybe it's a wee personal thing for me, but yeah, I think he's massively underperformed.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't have him in my team. I don't have him in my team just because I think he has been maybe one of the brighter sparks in that Aberdeen team but for where he was in his career, as you said, he had some excellent seasons, especially over the Netherlands, and it's not really worked out as well. Probably mostly down to how poor Aberdeen have been as a team, but yeah, that's a fair shout. Anyway, we'll go on to our three strikers. I'll tell you the clubs of my three strikers. So I've got one from Rangers, one from Dundee, and one from Aberdeen, and I'm pretty sure you could guess all three of them. They're not
Yeah,
very
I considered Kevin Nisbet as well. So I'm assuming that's who you've got. Uh,
yes. I just think yeah,
I
I
considered
think the lack of goals is a big thing, and the amount of games he's played, and Aberdeen have been struggling, and he's just not found the back of the net enough. You could have maybe went for Cassini Yengi if he had got it pat, if he'd been able to play more than 3 games. But yeah, that experiment got cut short pretty quickly.
Yeah, that. So yeah, I consider Kevin Nisbet because of the reasons we talked about, and I think I've got the same two as you. I've got Simon Murray and Bojan Miovski.
Yeah, Simon Murray is the drop off from last season, and he's always been someone that will consistently score goals in Scottish football. It wasn't as if he never scored goals, and then it came along that he just scored a ridiculous amount and was in the nomination for Player of the Season. That's not the kind of player Simon Murray was. He's always scored goals in Scottish football, but this season he hasn't. And yeah, I think Dundee could really use with it, but it looks like in recent
Yeah,
weeks
well,
they've found other
do you
routes to
know?
go, which is good.
Sorry,
But yeah, I think he has to be my team.
do you know what's interesting actually? And that season, last season, that he was getting so much praise for. He'd actually scored more in his previous season with Ross County in all competitions. So one more, and he got more assists. So with the same amount of appearances. So yeah, he definitely was a proven goal scorer before that. I mean, he'd had years, obviously, 10 years ago now with Dundee United, Hibernian, and then he went to and then he went on a wee bit of a journey to Bidvest Wits um, in South Africa, and then he came back to Scotland with Queens Park and refound his form, signed for Ross County. But yeah, this season he's been awful. As for Boyan Miovski, massive disappointment. I thought it was a great deal. I think it was 2.6 million. Rangers got him for, and I thought this was the goal scorer that Rangers really needed. And it's actually shaken out where we're sit here in January, and um, when Yusuf Chermiti is subbed off, Rangers doesn't have anything up top. Danilo Ormiovski coming on. Danilo's been poor as well, but I haven't searched whether he's made 10 starts or not. He could very much be in this team. If
Who's that?
Danilo,
Oh, Danilo, no, he's not made it. It's only Majovski that's made 10 starts. I did try both of the routes, but yeah, unfortunately. And yeah, sorry to jump in, but it's the same thing, really, with Chamati and Majovski. They both, maybe Chamati didn't come in with big expectation because, well, he comes in with big expectation, but maybe not as big expectation because of his goal record. But when you're signing someone for that price, I think they've had a greater impact than Yusuf Chamati has. But as we've seen, he got a couple of goals against Celtic, and maybe that'll kick him into gear. But the Aberdeen games didn't seem to be any evidence of that so far. Bojan Miovski, it's just not been a success so far. But then again, there's still time for all of these players in this team to turn it around. Do you think any players in this team could make it into our team of the season come the end of the campaign?
no,
No, I don't think so either. But you never know. But
certainly. You never know. One of your honourable mentions will definitely make it into the team of the season. Big the Portuguese Ronaldo. He'll definitely make it in.
Okay, well, I think we'll see about that. But I think that's been all from us this week. This week rather, midweek episode, rounding up the two games from last night, and obviously giving our thoughts on the season so far. The sort of mid-season review, you could say. This is always a fun episode to do. We enjoy doing it, and thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week to talk over the Scottish Cup games and hopefully some entertaining upsets there. Thank you very much for listening. Go and check us out at the Twitter, the Spotify, and the TikTok. And goodbye.